computer version that I'm on. David Computer.
Yeah, just a minute.
Okay, and it's still not allowing me to share.
Yeah, hold on a second. I gotta stop share. Okay.
Okay, excellent. All right, so I'm going to jump in real quick. Now, first off, let me just show you when you're in the website. Of course, new website. There's a menu in the upper hand corner. Make sure you click My Account. When you click My Account, it'll take you here. It'll allow you to log in, and then you click on View Your Mining Blocks. Now, I'm extremely proud to announce that the payout system is done. And before I get into it, let me just stop sharing for a second. Let me explain it. So our payout system essentially works like this. The customer is going to have a number of choices. Do they want to cash out? Do you want to continue mining? Or do you want to diversify? And this is the first part of that payment system. The second part is very, very complex. And the second part encompasses of our bots essentially will go find your block. It'll find all the nodes in your block. It'll find all the balances. It will sweep all the coins off it. It'll do the calculations, figure out what your percentage is. It'll move the coins into your personal wallet, etc. And I'm going to demo this to you in actual code. The third part of it is a bot. The bot we're still working on. Ant and I are engineering a bot that will take these coins and they will move them into the exchange. It'll take 5 days to find the right price to be able to sell, and it'll come back in our platform. The last phase of our development is right now in manual. We have to do all the tasks manual. That's when it comes back to the exchange. We manually put them into a new block for you. But I'm going to do a talk strictly on this Monday on strictly the comp plan and our payout system. But I want to right now show you literally hands-on of how this works. So if you see my screen, this is block number 1. And the great news is we started this node with 4 nodes. I'm sorry, we started this block with 4 nodes. Now we have 7. So we essentially, we kept our commitment. We kept mining for you. And as we said in the compounding period, I'm very proud to say that we've almost doubled the amount of coins. To the green team on the call, I want to show you kind of a little bit about our system. Every single thing that we do is fully transparent. It's verifiable on the blockchain, and you're able to see each and every single transaction that we do in and out. We also have statistics in here, and each one of these nodes that we're mining, you're able to not only view statistics, but it's all verifiable on the blockchain. So when you click on one of these nodes, you can verify exactly what was mined and when, and again, what any withdrawals regarding that node. So you'll see, for example, right here, node number 4, you'll see that today, the 19th, more than likely, it was mined. Sorry, my internet, for some reason, is really slow at this moment. So there it is. So you'll see, yes, on the 19th, 8.5 coins were mined on this node. Now, more importantly for everybody on this call, this is what I really wanted to cover. We're giving you 4 choices right now, and the 4 choices are starting with the first one, withdraw. Hey, you may want to be able to, I don't like to use the word income. If I had a better word, I would, but you may want to pull out and pull it directly into your wallet. The other one we have is diversify. And first off, it'll tell you right here, you successfully chose the option Bitcoin. You may want to diversify. We did a call Tuesday with Bitcoin Lightning. They are doing massive changes to block logic. They're converting the name to block logic, et cetera, and doing a lot of technology updates. So please listen to that video. There's also stipend. But more importantly, and for the purpose of this call, I really want to encourage everybody to stay in green. And I'll give them all my reasons why I personally prefer green, and hopefully the green team can also share with you some latest developments and forward thinking on that. So again, you log in your back office, you have 4 options, withdraw, 3 real options, withdraw, diversify, and growth. Now, let me go over here. So once you make your choice, I'm going to show you the back office of our code base. And again, I'd said on Tuesday, people think I'm absolutely insane to be showing you code, but quite frankly, I can't. I'm extremely dedicated to being the world's first 100% transparent cryptocurrency mining company. And with that said, I'm going to show you literally how everything works. And so just in short, I'm going to take 2 minutes to do this. I don't want to bore anybody to tears, but just in short, what we do is we have scripts that literally go out down the assembly line, figure out all the blocks and all the nodes, make sure that they're up, powered on, mining, working. Once when machines are all up for sure, then what we do is we check the balances, make sure that there's enough balance above the amount staked. We can't go below the amount staked to continue to mine. Then our sweeper goes out, it sweeps the coins off each and every single node, moves it to your master block. And once it sweeps it to the block, we actually have code specifically for Bitcoin Green. This is how dedicated and devoted we are to Bitcoin Green. We wrote code specifically to match their code base. And what it does is it pulls all the coins specifically off green nodes, again, into the master block. It does all the calculations, it figures out your percentages, and it moves it. First, before it gets into your wallet, we have a queue. And in the queue, it checks everything, makes sure the balances are there, makes sure everything is cleared properly. And then we actually sweep it to the customer queue, where the code basically, again, makes sure that everything's copacetic, make sure that the balances are correct and everything's moved correctly. Then we move it to the customer pay queue. Again, I'm going to be really fast here. I don't want to bore anybody, but just this right here alone is almost 600 lines of code. It's 568 lines of code. So you can see the intensity or the level of development we've put behind this machine here. Then if we do a transaction check, in cryptocurrency, you have to make sure you have at least 15 confirmations, really 30 to make sure that everything runs properly. You can't have any problems with your payments. We don't want to miss any coins, etc. Then it actually pays the customer out, and I don't want to get too far down the line, but in short, it resolves any issues, it confirms balances, it confirms just for green, and it confirms your transactions. So essentially, in short, I just want to say that this is a tremendous endeavor. I'm literally awestruck sometimes at our team, what we've been able to accomplish in such a short period of time. I'm really excited and just very, very, very excited of where we are and where we're going. And just to let you know, we're very committed to you guys, and there's a heck of a lot going behind the scenes. I'm hoping we can do a better job in communicating with you guys and really showing you exactly step by step what we're doing. I'm also very sensitive not to hit you too much and abuse the privilege of sending you emails. So I think maybe these types of periodic meetings will be more efficient. We're going to start meeting every Tuesday if you guys want to join us to give you a little more in-depth updates and technology updates. So in short, I just want to let you know there's a lot going on. Again, there's a new website. Please go to the blog, check out the videos. But more importantly, the payout system is complete and it's working. And so please log into your account. Please choose your choice. We hope you continue to mine with Bitcoin Green. And that's pretty much the purpose of this call, is to allow you to make an informed decision after meeting with the Green team, seeing what they're about, seeing where they're going. Hopefully you can make an informed choice. And I think that's it. I think that's all I really wanted to share. Again, I didn't want to take more than 15 minutes. In respect for our guests, I really want to hear from them and turn it over to them. So Herb, if you want to turn on their mics and cameras. And by the way, at the very end, we're going to leave at least 15 minutes, maybe a half hour, 45 minutes for questions. I would hope that you ask very detailed questions, and I hope the questions are primarily towards our guest, Bitcoin Green. But I'm, of course, very much happy to answer any questions that you may have. So,
Dylan, you are unmuted. I'm trying to get Dowd to unmute, but I can't get that unmuted.
Hello?
well,
Okay, just so everyone knows, I'm actually gonna have to call back in here in a few minutes because right now my computer's about to die. We're having some electrical issues, so I'm gonna be calling back in on the phone in just a couple minutes here.
Okay.
But anyway, just to start out, so does everybody on the call already have a basic idea about the project? Can you sort of start out with what is it? And what is it?
one second, Dylan. Herb, can you mute everybody but Dylan and myself?
Hello?
Excellent, thank you. Dylan, just to kind of bring you up to speed, let me kind of backtrack a little bit. Syntropy really is the bridge between altcoins and emerging technologies and the general person who wants to get involved. Many people have no clue about the blockchain, no clue about cryptocurrency. It's the first time in, they know zero. There's a lot of people that know quite a bit. There's probably very few tech people on the call, so maybe we keep it a bit high level because I want people to really grasp it as much as possible.
Okay, yeah, so I'll just start off with a brief introduction about Bitcoin Green, and then we'll go into sort of some of our recent updates, and then Daoud will talk about sort of some of our future objectives. So basically, Bitcoin Green is a few things. The focus of the Bitcoin Green project is on sustainability and energy efficient blockchain solutions. So basically, we noticed that one problem with many cryptocurrencies that are based on proof of work is that they consume massive amounts of energy. So Bitcoin, for example, is consuming currently an insane amount of energy. Currently, a single Bitcoin transaction consumes enough energy to power the average US home for something like 30 to 35 days. So to put it in perspective, Bitcoin is consuming as much energy as a small country. And sort of what we're focused on is energy efficient alternatives to proof of work within the cryptocurrency space. And so as part of that, Bitcoin Green obviously has master nodes, which is the method by which everyone is mining the Bitcoin Green. Rewards go to master node holders. This is also different than Bitcoin in the sense that it requires miners to actually have a stake in the coin in order to mine the coin. And so, yeah, right now we are really focused on building out an ecosystem that's going to allow us to really support sustainable future for cryptocurrency and support energy efficient, ideas and objectives within the blockchain space. So actually, we've got cool things going on. We just experienced a protocol upgrade. And so what that means for us is function of our blockchain, which means that master node holders are essentially going to be able to vote on future objectives for Bitcoin.
That's pretty
huge. A
huge.
lot of really interesting future objectives coming in the pipeline. Yeah, it's definitely really huge. Master nodes are definitely going to be one of the most important parts of governance. Is going to be one of the most important features of master nodes. But I'm about to have to switch. Would start to talk about future objectives and some of the things that we've been working on over the past couple of months that are going to be really valuable for Bitcoin Green.
First off, Dylan,
so
thank you so much for
back
following.
on.
I think we lost him. Herb,
Hey.
can you add on Alec?
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yep.
Yeah, this is Dowd. I'd like to talk, about some of the other, kind of exciting things that are pretty close to release. Dylan should be coming back in a second now. I think his computer is just dying. So essentially, as of 2 months ago, we began a partnership with another team to create our own cryptocurrency exchange. It's going to be called BitGex, and it's So on most cryptocurrency exchanges, the quote currency, right? Like, so, the trading pairs are, it's like you swap one cryptocurrency for another. The denominator currencies are usually Bitcoin and Ethereum. It's kind of like the standard medium of exchange. So on the Bitcoin Green exchange, it's going to be called BitGex. The quote currency, the denominator currency, is actually going to be Bitcoin Green. So right now a huge part of kind of adding value to, cryptocurrencies, it's a lot of it is just like a liquidity premium, meaning that if it's really easy to switch from one currency to another, like if there's something that is, really liquid, right? Like meaning it's trading on Binance or a big exchange or something like that, it's going to trade at a significant premium than a smaller coin that's, only listed on maybe some really small exchanges that not a lot of people are using. And so right now, that's kind of our current situation where we're not on any major exchanges yet. And that's kind of one of the major things that, drives value for, any cryptocurrency. And so the key idea
Dylan,
for having...
Do you mind if I give a little example of what that means in kind of layman's terms for the average investor?
Sure.
I typically, because I read that in your roadmap and I was sharing with everybody at one point, and I think one thing that really hit home was when I used the example of the US dollar being the reserve currency of the planet right now. And so hypothetically, if you wanted to buy oil and you were in Australia, you had to convert the Australian dollar to the US dollar to buy oil. Same thing in the UK or Europe, or if you're if you're down in Brazil or Argentina. You have to essentially convert your currency over to the reserve currency of the planet, the U.S. dollar, which has kept the fiat or the U.S. currency artificially inflated, in my opinion. But the point is, to your point, that what it's going to do for Bitcoin Green is being the reserve, I don't want to use the word currency, but I guess it is, the reserve coin of choice for exchange, is it will dramatically bring up its awareness and its value, because people are going to be using it all day, every day to get in and out of other alt currencies. So I'm not sure if that helps or not, but I remember conveying that to a number of people, and I kind of saw the light go off when they heard that. So
exactly. So yeah, so our kind of longer term vision is that we believe that, right now Bitcoin, right, uses more energy than 75% of countries. It just beat out Switzerland, and it's about to beat out Chile. If you were to, take the annual energy consumption of every country and rank them, it's, ranked like 40 right now, out of like 194 countries. And so a lot of people, there's still a ton of people that, don't really understand how this technology works, let alone exactly how much energy Bitcoin is consuming and what its potential, environmental impacts are. And so, we believe is that as the problem gets, worse and worse, people are going to start more aggressively searching out sustainable solutions. So we believe the solution to that is proof of stake, right? So as Dylan mentioned, Bitcoin and most cryptocurrencies, the technology they use to secure their network, and by secure the network, I mean process transactions, right? In proof of work, all the miners, right, the computers that are doing are processing the transactions, they have to burn through very significant amounts of computing power in order to perform that function. And in proof of stake, you kind of strip that away completely, and then you use much more intuitive economic incentives, whereby miners in the network essentially just post collateral in the form of the coin itself, right? So with Bitcoin Green, if you want to become a miner, or in this case, it's called a staker, you just purchase the coin and you have it on a wallet, a desktop application that's connected to the rest of the network. And you essentially prove to the other computers in the network, the other miners, that you are economically incentivized to essentially process transactions in the correct way. Why? Because, if you violate the protocol, and you as a staker attempt to push through a bad transaction, like a counterfeit transaction or something that violates the protocol, if that were to successfully pass through, then it would destroy the value. It would destroy the value of your stake, right, in the network. And so essentially, like, the cool thing about proof of stake is that, it's the same thing as running Microsoft Excel or Word or any other desktop application. It doesn't really use any electricity, right, relative to any other regular application. And so we believe that, as the problem with proof of work gets worse and worse, people are going to become more and more aware of proof of stake. And so we're doing we're working to, help spread that awareness, but we believe that we have, regardless of independent of what we do as an individual entity or organization, these problems are going to become, apparent on their own. And we've got pretty much huge tailwinds, you know, in our favor as people become more and more aware that, you know, proof of stake is, you know, kind of a viable solution to proof of work, and it's different problems. And so the vision with the Bitcoin Green Exchange is that, so I believe it was David, as he was saying, right now, like, you know, the reserve currency of the world, right, is the US dollar. And essentially the reserve currency of crypto is Bitcoin, right? You have to convert to Bitcoin to buy anything else. So what we aim to do with the, you know, Bitcoin Green Exchange, and again, this is, you know, we're probably going to, this is like the goal right now is to have minimum viable product launched before the end of August, is to have Bitcoin Green be the reserve currency of the proof of stake subset of all of crypto. So with that in mind, you know, the Bitcoin Green Exchange is only going to be listing proof of stake coins, meaning it's going to be, you know, creating a marketplace for, you know, people to, you know, buy and sell and invest and, you know, help support, you know, proof of stake networks. So a key feature of the exchange is that, you know, users are going to be able to stake their deposits directly on the exchange, which is something that, you know, no exchange, you know, currently allows for, you know, right now. So for a number of different reasons, right, the main being is that it's going to add a ton of liquidity to, you know, Bitcoin Green, because it's going to be half of every trading pair. You know what I mean? So right now there's on the exchanges we're listed on now, there's one trading pair on each of the exchanges for Bitcoin Green. You can go between Bitcoin and Bitcoin Green, right? Like that's the trading pair. So if you see BITG, if you go to Syntropy and you see BITG/BTC, that's what I'm referring to. But imagine an entire, you know, exchange where there's, you know, Dash to BITG, PIVX to BITG, right? It's going to be the reserve currency for this ecosystem. And right now, like the kind of the market for, you know, kind of like the competitive landscape for these smaller exchanges that list all these different proof of stake and masternode coins, it's very fragmented, and there isn't really any clear, you know, dominant market player. It's Cryptopia, CryptoBridge, Coin Exchange, you know, a lot of these smaller exchanges, and none of them allow users to stake on the exchange. And so, you know, we believe that, you know, we'll be able to capture a good amount of that market share, and add significant, you know, liquidity to the BITG, you know, kind of like ecosystem, which we think is going to drive, you know, pretty significant value.
Awesome.
Hey,
that's a really good update.
This is Dylan.
Hey, Dylan.
Dylan. I'm back on the call. So I just wanted to add in a little bit to kind of just more about what we're doing with the future plans. So the exchange is going to be really great, and that's one of our most exciting upcoming developments that we're working on, as well as the masternode governance, which I touched on briefly before. And I just want to add another future development that we are working on currently, which is going to be our crowdfunding platform. So essentially, we see Bitcoin Green as a environmentally focused project and sustainability focused project. We hope that Bitcoin Green can be used as a platform for crowdfunding. And so what we're going to be doing is building a crowdfunding web app that actually uses Bitcoin Green, and it's going to be crowdfunding for blockchain and sustainability related projects. So this actually comes in a couple phases. And so the beginning phase actually starts out with our masternode governance system. And so essentially right now we are finalizing the governance so that we can use governance to have BitG nodes vote on various different things. And from there, we are also going to be exploring if we can integrate our crowdfunding application into our coin, so directly integrated onto the blockchain through governance. And so what we're going to be creating is a crowdfunding web app, which does crowdfunding for sustainability and blockchain related projects, all done through Bitcoin Green. And so it's largely going to be a web application, which is a listing for various different fundraising objectives. And so we see this as a really useful way for people to get involved in sustainability and environmentally friendly related projects, as well as projects that are specifically related to blockchain and building sustainable blockchain solutions. And so really we see Bitcoin Green as being the lead reserve currency for sustainability and energy efficient focused blockchain projects. And so really we believe this is a necessary future for blockchain as we start to see some of the problems with proof of work progress, and as we start to see the public become more aware of some of these issues.
Can you guys share a little bit about the upcoming smart contract development?
Yeah, so that's actually like the final stage of our kind of crowdfunding development. So if you think about what smart contract integration is, in some ways, it's very much a crowdfunding platform. So that is something that is, I would say, 1 to 2 years down the road. But we are going to be looking to implementing smart contracts so that you can host a token and essentially directly do crowdfunding and tokens based on the Bitcoin Green blockchain.
Awesome.
Yeah, so there's a couple different avenues for how we're looking at implementing that. So the simplest way to do it, right, which could be done faster than some of the other approaches, would be to essentially, we can have a one-to-one conversion mechanism between Bitcoin Green, like the coin, the cryptocurrency in our network, and essentially like an ERC20 placeholder, right? So what that means is on Ethereum, which is the biggest smart contract platform, you can build out very quickly. You just copy paste code from a tutorial, and anybody could make a coin rapidly, right? And so and have smart contract functionality that dictates what you can and cannot do with that new token that you created that's built upon the Ethereum platform, right? So one of the approaches that we're looking at is having essentially it's called like a relay system, where imagine you enter your Ethereum address, right, and you register your Bitcoin Green address, right, it corresponds with that, and you send in 1 Bitcoin Green, and to your Ethereum address, you receive 1 Bitcoin Green, token, right? So it's a tokenized version of a coin that exists on another network. So there's a number of other platforms. There's one called Cosmos, which is essentially like a kind of it's essentially a platform that will allow for decentralized exchange between any blockchain, right? So right now, if you want to convert from one currency to another, you have to go to a centralized exchange, which means that there's some company that has a bunch of servers, right, that are holding onto your private keys. They have custodianship of your holdings, just like when you have, money at a bank or stocks on TD Ameritrade or something like that. They have custodianship of your asset, right? And so one of the big promises of kind of just, blockchain technology is that you can have fully decentralized exchange, meaning that you can convert from one coin to another without ever risking, without ever having to risk a custodian that it gets hacked or interfered with or anything like that. It's purely peer-to-peer, and it's all kind of guaranteed on the blockchain. So there's Cosmos and a couple other networks that are kind of in development right now that will kind of allow us to do decentralized exchange and stuff like that. So I'd say that, as Dylan mentioned, the smart contract platform is deep in our roadmap. That's kind of like the ultimate objective is to become, essentially create like a platform for SDApps, or sustainable decentralized applications. Some of the other objectives that are a little bit more kind of like low-hanging fruit that we aim to accomplish Q3 and Q4 of 2018. I'll just kind of list off a couple things in addition to the exchange on the tech side of things. One is essentially a mobile wallet, which will allow users to, so this is mainly a way for getting Bitcoin Green in the hands of people as fast as possible, so that they can easily set it up, use it, spend it, make peer-to-peer transactions. So essentially what this would look like is, imagine you're at a conference or something, and there's a Bitcoin Green stand, right, or a booth, and you get handed a QR code on a piece of paper. You scan that QR code, it prompts you on your iPhone, prompts you to download the Bitcoin Green wallet application. It downloads and it's preloaded with 5 BitG or something like that. And then, if you want, hey, I think my friend, be interested in this. I want to send 1 coin to him or 2 coins to him. right? You can send out like an SMS invite that will prompt them to download the application, and then that address, it creates a unique address for them, and you can just send it to them. And so this is like a much, easier, faster way to get people actually using Bitcoin Green than having them go to an exchange, buy Bitcoin in Coinbase, send it to Cryptopia, receive the Bitcoin Green, and then, send it back to their desktop application, which, takes maybe some time to configure, right? So we're trying to, there's still, because this technology is still early stage, right? There's still kind of like, it's kind of like the internet in the early 90s when, instead of having like domains like Apple, Google.com, you actually had to type in the actual kind of IP address, the raw number, right? There wasn't really DNS back then or anything like that. So we're still really, like right now, it's still like that. I mean, if you want to make a cryptocurrency payment, you literally have to copy paste, for the most part, you have to copy paste like a long hex string, just a bunch of numbers and letters that represent an address. That's the same thing as kind of like an IP address, right, for the internet. So that's what the analog for blockchain is. And so the technology is like, all this stuff is like super new, and it's kind of rapidly being developed. And so one of our big objectives is like, how do we get people, using this, as fast as possible in the most frictionless way. So we've got the mobile wallet. We're going to have a paper wallet. So essentially what that means is like, if you want to store, essentially you can store, any cryptocurrency, right, with just like essentially the most basic, I guess you could consider it an account, right, is just essentially, it's a private key and a public address. The public address is, essentially like it's kind of like your email address. You can share it with anybody. People can send you stuff, but then in order to unlock that, right, you need your private key, which is, the password to the email address. You don't have to share that. You don't share that with anybody. You keep it super secure. And so right now, like essentially that's what's happening on the back end. When you, download the Bitcoin Green desktop application and, hold your coins there. But to make it as even easier, like a more lightweight way to hold coins in a secure offline fashion, is to just, allow people to generate public-private key pairs, as many as they want. And it's, there's nothing really more secure than that. You can imagine if the ownership of the coins is just represented by a long number, you can punch that number into, a piece of metal or something and bury it in the ground, and no one's ever going to, it's like super secure. We're going to have the paper wallet, the mobile wallet, the exchange. And then, so the other thing that we're working on is essentially a payment integration method where users, so there's a dev team that we recently contracted that essentially has a payment mechanism for, purchase, where you can use Ethereum to purchase things directly on Amazon. And so the way that it works behind the scenes or under the hood, however you want to call it, is, you send Ethereum, you create an account, you want to buy something on Amazon, you essentially send your Ethereum to a certain address, and that Ethereum is converted to dollars, which is then used to purchase a gift card, which can then, is used to purchase whatever you want on Amazon. And so essentially, like when we create our exchange, there'll be a very easy way to convert between, Bitcoin Green and Ethereum. So it's just adding one step to that process. So we're going to have essentially payment integration with Amazon, relatively soon, definitely before the end of, Q4. And users will be able to, you'll be able to use it in a more direct way where you can actually just buy stuff on Amazon, with Bitcoin Green. So that's kind of like a high level overview of kind of what's going on this quarter and next.
Well, that's super exciting. And, just to backtrack and tell you guys how I found you and why I was drawn to you guys is I've been mining since 2011, and it was pulling my heart out as an environmentalist, the destruction of the planet it was doing. And just so you know, our operation runs on 100% hydro. Our data center in Winnipeg is 100% hydro. I'm sitting here right now in an off-the-grid home that I built, 100% clean energy, run by solar, and we're building a micro hydro station as well. But also, on a less personal note, regarding this platform and the reasons why we chose you guys initially is because you have a phenomenal white paper. And I highly encourage anybody on this call, if you can go to savebitcoin.io and you download the white paper and read it, I find it to be very powerful, and I really like the way you guys convey it. I also like the fact that your team, and you're active, you're alive, you're out there, you're in the limelight. You're not in the shadows. I get really tired of one crypto coin after another with some guy somewhere on the other side of the planet, just some gamer developing some coin. You really need a team that's dedicated and devoted and wants to be out there and active. One of the things that I did notice, though, on your roadmap is you used to have a line item on there that you were going to do a documentary called Bitcoin, the Inconvenient Truth, and then you were going to do an awareness campaign. So I'm kind of coming back to you and asking you what happened to that, and what's your plans on moving forward with awareness and getting out there in the public. But also, before you answer that, just so you know, we've decided we're going to probably do a proof of stake event in South Florida, probably in Palm Beach County, Florida, in November. And I really want to invite you guys, have you guys be your keynote speakers. And I want to really stimulate some energy behind proof of stake. We strongly stand behind you and what you're doing and proof of stake in general. So again, I just want to turn it back to you. If you could please let me know or let us know what your intentions are as far as getting out there to general public. I think some of the things you're doing with the wallets and everything else is wonderful. But I personally would like to join you on tour. You want to go on tour, you want to do some events, you want to speak, I'm all behind you. I'm right behind you, and we can do it together. But please let me know what your thoughts are on that.
Absolutely. So essentially, like, that initial roadmap was kind of like a catch-all, pretty much just all different project developments, all the different verticals of the project. And so we've mostly been focusing, like most recently, just kind of on locking down our tech developments, because we believe that's kind of like the most important kind of underlying fundamental, meaning we have, the functionality we really want with the network, and also, some of the different applications to get people using the coin. That kind of precedes the actual, marketing and stuff. Like, for example, like now once we have our mobile wallet, right, like, it'd be much easier to get, people to actually directly use the coin in person, right, like at a booth at an event. And so kind of going back to what you're saying, all of the whole, awareness campaign and, marketing campaign, that is, we're actually about to release kind of our marketing roadmap. So you can view like the roadmap up now is kind of like our kind of like the tech line items for the next, year or so. And so we're in the process now of, kind of putting together, a comprehensive roadmap for the exact kind of marketing activities we're going to be doing. So kind of like half the project is the cryptocurrency, Bitcoin Green, and half the project is, a pure awareness movement for, raising awareness for, Bitcoin and proof of work energy consumption, educating the public on proof of stake versus proof of work versus other types of, network consensus mechanisms. And so we're going to be releasing that, quite shortly. Probably the most immediate kind of, like branding, kind of more marketing, like public facing thing we're going to be doing is we actually just purchased a new domain, right? So we purchased bitg.org, which is kind of, so essentially the two coins we forked from, PivX and Dash, and then from Bitcoin, all their websites are pivx.org and dash.org. So we're actually completely revamping our website on a lot of the content. Going back to the white paper, we're actually in the process of rewriting that right now. So kind of one of the scary things, just as like kind of like a quick anecdote of how extreme and fast growing the Bitcoin proof of work, energy consumption problem is. When we wrote that white paper in late December initially, the statistic that Dylan quoted earlier, meaning like how many U.S. homes can be powered from one Bitcoin transaction, that number was 7 days back then, and now it's ballooned to low 30s, and it's constantly growing. The total energy consumption is constantly growing, and so a huge part of the project is just purely just making people aware of that problem and promoting not just Bitcoin Green, but really all proof of stake as a whole. Right. So, the real, like some of the leaders right now, like I'd say the biggest leaders now, kind of in the proof of stake space is actually Ethereum. Right. So they're going to be switching to proof of stake kind of in their Casper update. And, Vitalik and a lot of our really smart people, the Ethereum Foundation, they're putting out like groundbreaking work. There's kind of describing how you can modify proof of stake, right? Because there's a lot of different extra features you can add to proof of stake to make it, even more secure, more optimal than proof of work. And there, if you go to Vitalik's Medium account, you can see, a lot of the really, really cool stuff that they're putting out. And so we're kind of promoting all of that as a whole. And so the kind of unifying entity for the whole kind of Bitcoin Green mission is we're actually, in the process of creating like the Bitcoin Green Foundation, which will be, the legal entity that will unite all the different verticals of the project. So besides just, tech development, more so like the awareness side of things, and so that's going to be coming out. We can't talk too much about that right now because it's kind of, we're kind of in early stage talks with a number of different lawyers. It's probably going to be based out of Zug, Switzerland, because they've got a really robust regulatory framework for, blockchain projects. But on the marketing side of things, stay tuned for, kind of the roadmap that's going to be, released quite shortly.
Awesome. Now, I want to take some people's questions, but before you do that, if you allow me to show you something really cool?
Sure.
You mentioned the amount of power that it takes to process one transaction for Bitcoin, and it takes literally like the power of 30 homes for one transaction in Bitcoin. Let me show you one of our mining rigs. This right here, I'm going to give you a real life example. Our mining rigs are literally web servers, okay? This is a typical web server where you would host websites on. And this is our typical mining server. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you literally how I'm going to run this on solar. And before this call, I brought in a solar panel just to show people. I took one solar panel. It's an evergreen solar panel. It's 240 watts. And one battery. This is a 100 amp, 12 volt battery, very small, just a kind of standard solar battery. Kind of looks like a battery in your car. I took one charge controller, Snyder, and a simple inverter. I charged this battery up earlier today, literally again with one solar panel. I'm gonna go ahead and turn this on. And this again is a web server, and you'll see, just to give you general specs, it's got 128 gigs of RAM. It has 6 hex core or 24 threads, 24 processors, etc. And it has a RAID array, 6 drives in here that are all 12 gigabytes each. And I'm going to go ahead and turn this on and show you how green and how efficient that Bitcoin Green is and proof of stake mining, that we can run a multitude of nodes on one machine here on one battery. And I'm going to let this run literally until it dies. It's my estimation. I did how do you say this? I used a meter and I measured it, and essentially it takes 2 amps to run this machine, 2 amp hours, and that battery is again 100 amps. So theoretically, we should be able to run one of those machines for 50 hours without sun. Now that's, of course, in a perfect world, and no machine and no battery, of course, is perfect. So I literally am going to be doing this experiment. I just turned it on, and I'm going to be watching over the next couple of days with no sun. I disconnected the solar panel. It's just one battery and one charge controller, one inverter, and our machinery. And I'm going to let it run and see how far it goes as an experiment, just to prove to people out there that the replacement's here. There's a lot of people concerned about Bitcoin and it's not sustainable, and I agree wholeheartedly it's not, and the solution's here. And Bitcoin Green is going to be the driving force behind this, in my opinion. Just to give you round numbers, I said this at one point a while back, Bitcoin has a market capitalization of 127 billion. Bitcoin Green has a market cap, I think, of 12 million. So if you take 1% of Bitcoin and it gets converted to Bitcoin Green, 1% of 127 billion is 1.27 billion. Now imagine the value of Bitcoin Green going from 12 million market cap to 1.2 billion. These are the types of numbers that we're looking at. And again, I really don't like to get into hype. I don't like to get into hypotheticals. I really kind of detest, proof of returns. Are going to make this and that, because you just don't know. But I strongly believe that proof of stake is the way to go, and it will replace proof of work. I strongly stand behind Bitcoin Green, what they're doing. It's super efficient, super powerful, and I just proved it to you. We can run one machine on one battery. So, what do you guys think about that, by the way?
That's great. I'm glad that you shared some of that info about the market cap size. We truly do believe that we are targeting a market here that's currently 127 billion, like you said, but this could be multiple trillions and trillions of dollars. And so we really see ourselves, there's a long way to go, but we really do think that we're going to be able to capture a percentage of this really huge market.
Absolutely. And by the way, I guess I'm guilty of talking about fiat. We really try as hard as we can not to talk about fiat or proof of returns, expectations of profit, etc. But just to let you know, when we first got in Bitcoin Green, I think it was only a few thousand Satoshi, and it went up, I think in May, as high as 130,000 Satoshi. I think now, I'd have to check exactly, I think it's 40,000. And it's going to fluctuate. It's going to go up and down. But the beautiful thing about nodes in mining is the fact that you're accumulating your coins. So regardless of the fluctuations, if you really stay behind these communities and these technologies in your mining, your base continues to grow. Just like we showed in block 1, we went from 4 nodes to 7. Block 2 literally started with 18 nodes. Now we're up to 54 today. That's triple. And on down the list. So anyway, I unfortunately I tend to speak too much. I really want to get to callers. I want to have people ask Bitcoin Green questions directly. So please, Herb, you want to? Is anybody? I guess if you raise your hand, then Herb can unmute you. If not, Herb's going to have to unfortunately unmute everybody, and I think there's going to be a lot of feedback.
Go ahead and raise your hand. I don't see any hands raised.
I bet many people probably don't know how to do that. It's not that easy or straightforward. And a lot of people are calling in on telephones. I always love questions from Josh, Debbie, and Steve. They always seem to ask the best questions. Elta and Jay, they ask good questions as well. Actually, you know what? Nitin's on a call, and he has his hand up. And Nitin is one of the very first participants in our platform. He sends me a lot of emails about Green. What's going on, Green? What's going on, Green? And so please let Nitin jump on.
Can you hear me?
Yes,
absolutely.
We can.
Hey, Nitin.
Thank you for this call. I really appreciate it. And I heard a few things and I wasn't sure. Some things said that there's going to be an exchange, and some things said there's a smart contract, but it seems like it's going to take an year before the smart contracts are out. But the other encouraging thing is that there might be a roadshow, a sort of a marketing campaign so people know more about BitGreen. So can the team please address that so we have a better idea of
Nitin, that was kind of a couple questions. Yeah. Do you have a very specific question? Just in the sake of time, I want Green to be able to answer very specific.
From a way to have the value of BitGreen go up in price, is there a planned marketing roadshow that it will be effective?
Yeah, so just to answer that, I just want to talk about I'm seeing some people noticing that we kind of updated the roadmap and moved some of the marketing objectives. So really what that comes down to is that as we got into the project, we kind of saw a little bit more about what we wanted to work on development-wise. So all of those roadmap objectives that you saw related to marketing, they are still standing. So we still do plan to make it to several cryptocurrency conferences, and even as so far as being involved in proof of stake conferences and helping to host that. That's something we're really interested in doing. And so we heard that mentioned before, and we think that could be, a great opportunity for something we can get behind for sure. But those marketing objectives still stand completely. The truth is that we have just been really focused on development, and we've realized that we kind of have all of these really awesome verticals that we're pursuing on the development side. So we've just kind of extended the marketing timeline a little bit so that we can have more to show for actual physical developments before we spend the money and the time on marketing.
Thank you.
Okay, Nitin. Any other questions, Nitin?
No, this is good.
Excellent. Anybody else raise their hand?
I want to go ahead and unmute just for a little bit here, see what happens. And
Sure.
so everybody is unmuted. Now's your chance to speak up.
Hey, this is Steve. I don't really have a question, but I do have a comment that I was really excited when David and Herb announced that Bitcoin Green was going to be on the call today. So I think you guys did a really great job of covering everything. I think that's one of the reasons why there aren't any questions, because it's been a very thorough presentation. So thank you very much.
Thanks,
Of
Steve.
course, absolutely. Thank you for the support.
Aloha, Steve.
Aloha, David.
What about Josh and Corbin? Josh is definitely a strong believer behind Green. We've had many discussions about it. Corbin just recently joined us on our platform, and he's all in on Green. Josh, Corbin, you guys have any questions?
This is Josh. I want to just say thanks to everybody that's actually on the call going over all of this stuff. It's pretty exciting what you guys are doing, and I think that the awareness of Bitcoin Green with everybody actually, these road shows and a little bit of advertising and pushing it is really going to make a big impact on people's awareness of what the whole mission is. The smart contracts, I'm still a little, still have some questions on how that's going to be working, what type of smart contracts you guys have, and then also piggybacking that with the crowdfunding. I'd definitely like to learn more about how you guys plan on using this kind of as a reserve to crowdfund other projects. So maybe you can elaborate just a little bit on that.
Yeah, so I would say those are deeper in our tech roadmap, meaning that like the estimated, so kind of on the roadmap, if you look at it, we pretty much rank everything based on time to completion. And so we're right now like pretty much 100% of our efforts are focusing on the exchange, the paper wallet, the mobile wallet, and also, I forgot to mention this, but web staking. So the ability to stake in browser as opposed to having to download the entire, blockchain and run a desktop application, and also the paper wallets. Those are, particularly the exchange, there's a lot of work, on the dev side of things, for those objectives. And then a lot of the other stuff, listed out, particularly the crowdfunding platform, the smart contract platform, more so the smart contract platform, that's much deeper in our roadmap, meaning that that's not what we're focusing on right now. It's kind of just painting a picture of, where we, what we aim to spend our time on after we get these kind of initial, objectives out of the way. Just to kind of add, show like, in a year or two, like, what is this project going to be? What is this project going to look like? What's the Bitcoin Green ecosystem going to look like? That is our long-term vision. In terms of like things that you're going to start seeing and using very shortly, I would say staying tuned for the mobile wallet, paper wallet, and the exchange, particularly the exchange. There's a lot of work involved in designing that, finding which coins we want to list, in terms of building out like the marketing for that, and having referral programs. And also just kind of building up back-end technology for hosting nodes and stuff, and dynamically creating them and tearing them down and stuff. As David mentioned at the beginning of the call, there's a lot of work involved in that. That's what we believe is probably the most significant kind of driver of value over the next quarter, 2 quarters for the project. And we're going to be spending a ton of time focusing on that, and also kicking off kind of the first stage of our marketing plans. So going to attending events, giving talks, kind of like fireside chat type things, putting out more blog posts explaining how what the current problems are, what the current solutions are, public education of explain to people really in simple terms, right? Like how all this technology works. And also as Dylan mentioned, hosting our own or helping sponsor other kind of staking conventions. Because kind of right now the whole cryptocurrency ecosystem, it's very concentrated at all the different blockchain conferences, right? It's kind of like you've got a relatively small community of people that kind of run the circuit, and they loop around the different events. And the best way to kind of tap into that community of people is just kind of starting to run the circuit, right? Is go to all the main events, have booths, promote there, and get like the core people in the blockchain space, more educated on the problems, and also just hearing more about Bitcoin Green. And also as Dylan mentioned, we've really been focusing on building out more of the technology, so that when we do start to aggressively go out and meet people, we can really show them like, okay, hey, look, like we've got our own organic blockchain community. We didn't do an ICO. Everything is completely organic in terms of the community growth. And we have our own exchange. We've got all these wallets that you can use, all these applications that you can use. And we think that'll be much more powerful than if we were to kind of do that prematurely before we, really invest the time and money, going out there.
Nice.
Hey guys,
Awesome.
this is Dylan. I gotta get going. I actually have another call I need to hop on right now. But
Hey,
this is
Dylan.
really great. It's great that we, to speak to a group of investors. It's also great to know that you guys are a large group of investors, because we'd be happy to jump on a call with you guys, once a month or something like that. Whenever you typically have meetings, we're happy to jump on and give you some new developments, since it seems like this group is definitely a large holder in the coin. So we're always here. We're always here to answer questions through Discord, anything like that. Just feel free to reach out anytime. My Discord name is Dr. Crypto, and I'm Dylan. And anyway, it was great to meet you all. Thanks for having us on.
Hey,
Thanks,
Dylan,
Dylan.
do you
Appreciate
have 1
it.
second before you go?
Yep.
Just one minute. I just wanted to say that, we have a significant investment in you. We put our full force and weight of our platform and our community ecosystem behind you. I'm all in. And if I can be of service to you at any level, whether it's, our development team, my expertise, just coming in as an advisor, if you need someone to join your committee, by all means, please let's talk, because I want to be much more involved directly with you guys. I would love to be able to again be of service and help the team move this project forward, because I truly believe in you guys and want to be a part of it.
Okay, awesome.
means
We'll
a lot.
definitely take you up on that. We will get in touch with you as soon as possible after the call. But anyway, I gotta
Beautiful.
go. I'll talk to you all
Well,
later.
thank you guys so much for joining us. Is anybody else still here on the team?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm still here.
Okay, wonderful.
Yeah.
Um,
We can field another question or two, if there's anybody else that
yeah, please.
has any
Anybody
questions.
else have a question?
Yeah, this is Joshua again. I got one more. What do you guys feel the significant impact of the exchange is going to have on Bitcoin Green itself, along with any other coins you guys choose to take on?
So as I mentioned before, really the biggest thing So independent of everything else, right? Like independent of technology, independent of community, the biggest thing that drives value for any cryptocurrency is the liquidity premium, right? So as an example of that, you know, you have a huge exchange like Binance, right? If you went out, right, and you copy pasted code for some, you know, Ethereum token just on like a tutorial, you made some coin and you somehow convinced Binance to list it, right? As soon as it got listed on Binance, even though it has zero value, zero technology, zero anything, just the fact that it's on Binance, right? And you've got a ton of people, you know, with a ton of, with a ton of other holdings, right? And they see this new coin, and they're like, oh, I'm going to get this. This hot new coin is on Binance. It would probably have a market cap of just, you know, a number off the top of my head. It would probably have immediately 10 or 20 mil market cap, independent of anything else. Right. And just, that's kind of the speculative, irrational nature of the crypto market is just really that, like, you know, well, it's logical, you know, it's economics too, right? Just a liquidity premium, right? So like, but pretty much getting on liquid exchange is what really drives value for any coin. And right now, you know, we're only listed on a number of very small exchanges. And so we don't really get the benefits of that liquidity premium. And so the coolest thing about the Bitcoin Green Exchange is that we're going to be one half of every trading pair, right? So you're going to have whatever, you go to masternodes.online, you see a whole bunch of different masternode coins there. You know, we're going to have a good number of those listed. And all those trading pairs, half of that trading pair is going to be Bitch, right? So there's going to be a ton of volume, right, for Bitcoin Green, which will, you know, have a ton of, there'll be, you know, instead of right now, it's like if you have the order book for Bitcoin Green, like the main thing right now is just Bitcoin to Bitcoin Green on Cryptopia, right? It's one order book, one kind of like little marketplace for liquidity, right? And again, liquidity, you know, when I say that, I just mean the ability to convert from one coin to another easily, right? So an illiquid market is when there's not a lot of, you know, orders on the order book, and it's harder to convert from one coin to another. And so, you know, it's going to have a ton of liquidity when we have a whole bunch of different trading pairs, and the quote currency is Bitcoin Green. So we believe that there'll be, you know, kind of a significant, it'll drive a lot of value through that. The other thing is that right now, every exchange, right, whether or not it's a proof of work or proof of stake coin, right, when your coins are deposited on the exchange, you're not mining, right? So either the exchange doesn't just kind of has your coins parked in some wallet, or, you know, maybe they set up your coins as masternodes or keep them in a staking wallet, and they just keep all of that for themselves. So the Bitcoin Green Exchange is going to be the first, like literally the first staking exchange where users can stake their deposits directly on the exchange. And we believe that there will be a, you know, significant demand for that, because it kind of removes the technical barriers to entry for getting involved in proof of stake mining. And so we think there'll be significant, you know, demand for people to, you know, use the exchange, convert between Bitcoin Green and other, you know, coins they can choose to stake with. And we think that's going to add, you know, significant value.
That's pretty cool. Basically, you're saying that you're allowing them to stake their coins and mine while they're on the exchange. Is that correct?
Exactly.
Huge.
It also gives a tremendous amount of name recognition because people are going to be using it all day, every day. I always say that, you know, again, I love Bitcoin for many reasons. I've been mining it since 2011, but it's an inferior technology. It's crypto 1.0, and Bitcoin Green literally is crypto 3.0. The transactions process 22 times faster. It's a superior technology, and so once people really get the fact that it's green, that it's clean and on the environment, that it does faster transactions. One person did an article on Bitcoin Green comparing it to Litecoin and saying, why do we still have Litecoin? It's based on proof of work, which in my opinion is not sustainable, and we have Bitcoin Green, which processes very quickly. Well, Litecoin has a market cap of 5 billion fiat. So just to give you a general perspective, yeah, I think it's going to be huge. Once you get on those exchanges, people start using it, start seeing it, start understanding it, looking into it. I think there'll be a giant shift over.
Absolutely. That's the goal.
Do we have
I have to run right now.
Yeah,
but it was,
do.
you know, great chatting with you guys. David will get in touch with you, I guess on Discord or by email. Again, as Dylan mentioned, we're all on Discord. Anybody that has any questions, please feel free to reach out to any of the team members, and just mainly people. If you go to Discord, whoever has a green name, right? Like they color the name. If that's green, reach out to any of us. It was great chatting with you guys, and the support is super encouraging. And we're happy to talk with you guys whenever you want, give you guys monthly updates or something to that nature.
We'll definitely invite you back for sure. Absolutely, we're going to invite you back, and we'd love it if you come back on.
Absolutely. All right. Well, take care. See ya.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Bye.
Okay, everybody. Does anybody have any questions for me on green or anything else? Should we close this out?
Also, I'm still here. It's Alec Beckman, by the way. I'm also.
Oh, hey, excellent. Well, let's have our questions geared towards Alec then. Is there something else you wanted to share, Alec?
No, I mean, I'm just I'm excited to hear from you guys. It's always nice to hear from our bigger investors. It sounds like you guys have a pretty good and mutually beneficial operation. So, I mean, we're looking forward to working with you guys.
Yeah, I'm hugely into symbiotic relationships, mutually beneficial relationships. It's a win-win for everybody. And I feel so blessed because not only do I love Bitcoin Green personally, I wouldn't introduce something that I love personally into our platform if I didn't believe that the numbers were good. And how do you say this? I don't want to get too technical, but it won't have until it reaches the 1 millionth block. So we're in a really good opportunity right now. I think it's at 235,000 or something block. Essentially, we need 5 times as many transactions, 5 times as many usage or blocks until it halves again. So it's a really, really good opportunity right now for us to be able to accumulate. When crypto itself is down, we're still accumulating coins and we're still building up our base and we're still mining. And that's a great thing about mining is it's so consistent. You just constantly every day are building your base up. So Alex, did you want to share anything else like technology wise on speed of transactions or
no,
I know
go ahead, sorry.
Well, I was just going to say, I know, initially it was forked off Bitcoin and Dash forked Bitcoin, I think 2015, and then PVIX forked Bitcoin, and then, of course, you guys. Could you tell me a little more about the technology just from a very simplistic level?
In terms of, like, from the PIVX fork?
Well, I guess, speed of transactions and, essentially, what's most important for crypto, in my opinion, is real-world adoption. And one of the things that people struggle with is the transaction speed and things of that nature. So
I mean, that's just an advantage that we have that is built in. I mean, the entire goal was to fix all scalability issues, starting with the environment. And I know that we use about 154 transactions per second, which is significantly higher than Bitcoin Cash.
It's 22 times faster.
Yeah, and so, I mean, that's just one of the scalable issues we were able to fix with Bitcoin Green. Besides that, obviously, transaction fees right now, they're below a cent. I mean, they're significantly lower than Bitcoin's. Depending on certain projections, they'll never get above a cent, which is another huge thing in terms of another scalable issue that we fixed. But but if you want, I can actually send you some sort of write-up that we're making, which highlights all these points, these technological points.
Yeah, please do, and I'll share it. You know, I've been a developer for 25 years, and from a developer's standpoint, I can attest that the Bitcoin Green code is solid. We build all these machines that run all these nodes, and we are engineering every day. We are integrating Bitcoin Green into our platform. I showed you earlier how we're actually writing code specifically for Green. Is a hybrid between the actual community code base and our platform. And I can test it's solid. Your machines do not go down. They rarely ever stop mining. The wallets rarely ever lock up. We have bots that go and regularly check it every 3 hours, but I can assure you and anybody out there that I'm really confident in the code base, and the engineering of it is second to none in my opinion. And that's another reason why we really are behind you guys. You know, we were mining you guys long before we put this on our platform. I don't mind anything. I don't bring anything to our community or our ecosystem until I personally have mined it, tested it, made sure everything works and functions correctly. So, and hats off to your team.
I really appreciate that. I'm actually less on the development and technical side. That's more of Daoud and our developer Cones, who is kind of he started out kind of as an outsourced from Europe guy, and he's been working with us pretty closely, and I know he did a great job with it. So we really appreciate you saying that.
Absolutely. Well, I wish there was more questions from people. Maybe people are muted, Herb?
Well, if you guys have any more questions, I mean, just feel free to reach out at any time. We're happy to either get on a call or answer any questions via email or Discord.
Yeah, you guys are very gracious to come on and spend your time sharing with us all the updates and developments. But you know, I think it's huge. Everybody in our system is constantly asking me, and all I have to go on is your roadmap and your website. But to hear it directly from you guys is very powerful. And again, what's more powerful for me personally is if I could be of service to your team. If you know, there's a spot maybe on your committee or somewhere, I don't need to get paid. I don't need a voting position. I don't need anything of that nature. I just want to be of service and help. We have a huge investment in you guys, and we stand behind you and just want to be part of making the project fly.
Yeah, absolutely. We appreciate that so much, and we will definitely be in touch about something or some ways that you can help.
Excellent.
We definitely would like to use you guys as a resource.
Beautiful. Awesome. Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. It's been wonderful.
Yeah,
and appreciate you coming on. Really do.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
and if there's thank you. Well, and again, we'll do this another month. I mean, definitely every quarter, but maybe every month, just to hear regular updates, or just ping me and let me know when you want to come on.
All right. Perfect.
Before we close out, if there's any questions for me, anything on the platform, any questions on the upcoming upgrades or PayL system, anything, again, we're going to do another follow-up on Monday. This is going to be strictly about the comp plan and the PayL system. I just want to emphasize, I don't think I've said yet, that we are completely abandoning and scrapping the comp plan that we've had. In, regardless of if somebody tells you, if it's you know, closely associated with an insurance plan, in my opinion, it's multi-level, too many levels. And I think anytime you mention the word crypto with anything that has anything to do with multi-level, you have a potential problem with compliance. You have a perception that it's unsustainable. So I'm dedicated and devoted to moving away from that, and I'm really excited in the direction we're going to go. I want to share that on Monday. Herb hopefully can share that as well in more detail. But and also we're going to talk about the payout system, and we're going to get really detailed, much more than we did today, and just a brief overview of the code. So
what time is the call on Monday?
Same time, 6 o'clock Eastern time, unless anybody has any rejections.
Okay.
Anybody else out there? It's been an hour and 20 minutes. I think it's been